Hi betting experts, on Tuesday the 16th of June, day one at Royal Ascot, a really cracking card after the small fields of 12 runners and left we've been used to over the last couple of weeks. It makes a pleasant change. There's some huge field handicaps, some competitive group race action. The ground just on the softer side of good. There are showers in the forecast throughout the week. It's difficult to know how much they're going to get with any great confidence. I've assumed it won't be too bad. I think it'll be good to soft at worst if some of the rain arrives. The track's in magnificent condition. Obviously they've had no racing at all through the summer months. It's perfectly prepared, loads of grass cover. Hopefully there shouldn't be too much of a draw bias. There'll certainly be no excuses if there are, and it's worth watching the early races on the straight course. We're going to take a look at the whole card, but we'll start off with our value angle selection in the 335. This is the King Stand Stakes over 5 furlongs, Group 1, Class 1 for 3-year-olds and upwards. £148,000 to the winner this year. 11 runners, a short priced favourite in Batash, who I'm keen to take on at the prices. He might well sluice up. He's won 10 of his 20 starts. He's a terrific top class sprinter with a smart turn of foot who goes really well on fast ground. And has got a terrific record. He is capable of blowing out altogether, however, as he did on his final start at Longchamp, where the ground turned really soft. He was completely tailed off there behind glass slippers, and for a horse who's about 6-4 on, that's the only time we've seen him in the last 8 months falling out the back of the television in France. I couldn't be with him at a short price. He could easily bounce back. He's yet to win at Ascot. He's run 3 times at the track and got beaten each time. He's been second to Blue Point in this race the last 2 years, so it probably doesn't do him any harm here, but it is a point that he's run 3 times at Ascot and not won. He also probably wouldn't want any rain, that's for sure, for things to ease things through the day on Tuesday. So at the price, I'm keen to take him on, and the one I think's overpriced, around about 14-1, is John Quinn's filly Liberty Beach. Now this one's 5 from 7 in her career so far. She's a strong traveller. She's run one race at Ascot at this meeting last year in the Queen Mary, when a cracking 4th of 25 behind Raffle Price, sent off 16-1 there on just her 3rd career start, but running an absolute blinder in the circumstances. On the far side, the winner raced on the near side. She won over there, and that race has worked out very well. It's strong form. And she's carried on where she left off after 290 days off at Haydock in a competitive listed prize in June, on the 7th of June, just 9 days ago, of course, beating Queen Jojo there. Left with a bit of ground to make up from halfway, but making the ground out in the middle pretty smoothly, and I thought she won with plenty in hand. Now, she's got a big class jump up to a Group 1 from listed level here, but I think with sprinters it tends to be, there's not the difference between them as there is between, say, middle distance horses, group races and handicappers, for example. With sprinters it's much finer margin. She's a now filly, she's fit, she's well, she'll love the track, she'll go on the ground. She's got loads in her favour. I'm sure she'll run well, and that might mean she's in the first 6 in a hot race like this, but I think 14-1, if you can get on each way. I've certainly seen worse bets. I think she'll go really well under Jason Hart. For our nap of the day, we go to the 225. This is the Ribblesdale Stakes, a fillies Group 2. Another very valuable prize, fascinating contest. The one I like here is Rafe Beckett's Trefoil. Now this filly was useful last season. She made a winning debut when relatively unfancied, impressing there. Sent off 8-1 at Newmarket on soft ground, which could be important if the rain gets in here. And I really liked her run over a mile 2 in the Pretty Polly. Just 9 days ago, behind Run Wild, who we backed, betting expert value angle selection, hosed up, made all the running, destroyed the field, but I liked how Trefoil ran. She was in fact the only one to come out the pack and briefly closed down Run Wild, just getting tired and losing second place on the post to Queen Daenerys. The front 3 were 8 lengths clear. It was a fast run race. She's shaped well. I think these extra couple of furlongs will suit her. She's race fit. Rafe Beckett's absolutely flying. His horses, I think he's had 9 winners already since racing resumed, which is pretty incredible for a relatively small yard, and I think she'll go really close. Frankly Darling is the one I fear. John Gosden, another yard, absolutely banging in winners left, right and centre. At the time of recording, I think he's had about 27 winners since racing resumed, which is absolutely extraordinary, a high strike rate. And Frankly Darling is another one who's race fit, won 15 days ago on the first day we resumed at Newcastle, back down to odds on and storming home in a maiden by a long-looking 5 lengths there, looking a top-class prospect. Hugely respect her claim. She's beautifully bred. Dettori's book. She's sure to be popular, but actually on form, there can't be the disparity between our selection, who's 5-1 this morning, and Frankly Darling, who's around about 7-4. So Trefoil for me will hopefully come forwards from what was admittedly quite a hard race. That would be in the back of my mind a minor doubt that she might bounce, but I think on form she's well overpriced. Right, a quick spin through the other 5 races at Royal Ascot. It's a different programme this year. We start off at 1:15 with the Buckingham Palace Handicap, 8-1 the field this morning. 27 runners, which is going to be quite a shock. There'll be no social distancing in this one for 3-year-olds and upwards. Just over £21,000 on offer to the winner. Obviously a very competitive race. If you're going to play, find a bookmaker offering extra places. The one I prefer, my shortlist of 2, is Mutta Cahill and Darrick, and Mutta Cahill looks the value at 16-1 this morning. He had excuses on his final start last season when he pulled hard, and I really liked his form before that on much better ground. Hopefully it won't be too testing for the first race of the day if the rain is going to arrive. He was a winner at Doncaster and at Newmarket, the latterly off a mark of 92. He is up about £6 from that, but there's more to come from him. He should settle. He's a free-going sort. This huge field will suit him. He has got a high draw, which shouldn't be any inconvenience. I think he's overpriced in a race for very small stakes. The 150 is the Queen Anne Stakes, a Group 1 over the mile, £148,000, 16 runners in total. I do think Circus Maximus, who, if you can get 3-1, I think that's a fair price. Very useful colt of Aidan O'Brien's. Another yard, absolutely flying since they returned. And this 4-year-old is 4 wins from 11, been all around the world. Really liked his form last season. 3 wins at Chester, at Royal Ascot when winning the St James's Palace Stakes from King of Comedy, and latterly sent over to Longchamp on softer ground. And his final run, there was nothing wrong with that at Santa Anita in the Breeders' Cup, finishing 4th of 16 behind Uni, running a screamer. He's sure to be trained to the minute. I think he's a class above these. Of the others, Fox Chairman seems sure to go well with the way Andrew Balding's horses are running. The 3 o'clock is the King Edward VII Stakes, a Group 2. We've got a short-priced one here, Mogul of Aidan O'Brien, so I'm not rushing to oppose. I think he's very progressive. 2 wins as a juvenile in Ireland last season, really taking performance. Aidan's had a huge number of horses he could have run in this race, and this one is expected to improve dramatically as his stamina is drawn out. He goes to a mile 4 here, for the first time, having been winning and running at a mile last season. It should definitely suit him. Ryan Moore's booked, and it's actually a very weak renewal of this race. He's sure to be popular. I'd be surprised if there was any evens about. He's more likely to be about a 4-5 chance. If he did drift out to evens, I'd definitely be getting involved. I think all the others have got plenty to find with him, and reports of his homework are very bullish and upbeat. The final 2 races, the 4:10 is the Duke of Cambridge Stakes over the straight mile, a fillies Group 2, this one for 4-year-olds and upwards, 11 runners, 7-2 the field this morning for looking. Worth watching the earlier races on the straight course to see if there's any draw bias, although it's quite possible they'll stay in one group up the middle here, as there's only 11 runners. Nazif is likely to be favourite at John Gosden and has had the run. I do think she's a big danger, but Jubiloso for me, a filly I've always liked, a typical Sir Michael Stout improver. Ryan Moore booked. Sir Michael's made a really good start to the turf season as well. He's had 8 winners in the last couple of weeks. Horses are flying, and this one has got a good record fresh, winning first time out at Chelmsford last season, then improving to take a Newbury novice in some style by 7 lengths, looking a top class prospect. Things didn't go to plan quite at the Royal meeting last year. Sent off 9-2 in the Group 1 Coronation Stakes and running a real good race behind Watch Me, finishing 3rd. The last 2 runs were expensive defeats at Goodwood and then sent to Sandown, final run in a Group 3. Things didn't go to plan there. I think you can chuck those runs out. She's reportedly been working well. Moore's booked. I think she'll go extremely close. I think her form is superior to all of these. Around about 5-1 is a very fair price. Again, I'd possibly be looking to play each way. To round the day off, the 440, the Ascot Stakes, nearly 2 mile 4, a handicap, a real test of stamina, 20 runners, be some spectacle. The favourite Verdana Blue does not want any rain. If it gets testing by then, That'll be a big drifter, best form on top of the ground, especially over hurdles. My 2 against the field were Moon King, who takes plenty of driving but will definitely like this trip, and the one I prefer is Summer Moon. Mark Johnson, another very much in form yard, flying, 18 winners already in the last fortnight. This one ran an absolute screamer over 2 mile 2 at Newmarket in October, in 3rd of 30 behind Stratton, just beaten half a length at 50 to 1. You can ignore the last start, that was on heavy ground at Newbury. Basically a very progressive horse who's not really exposed over extreme distances as a 4-year-old and should go extremely close. Best of luck on day 1 at Royal Ascot Betting Experts.